الأنبياء وإمامنا وحبيبنا وقدوتنا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Respected brothers and sisters in Islam, first we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala once again. Allah has granted us the tawfiq and the ability to perform the Maghrieb Salaah with Jama'ah. Alhamdulillah, we ask and we beg from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept our salah and to grant us sincerity and istiqamah. Ameen Rabbal Alameen. Inshallah, this evening we conclude the Surah Al-Adiyat, the Surah Adiyat, as we've started 2 weeks ago. And as we've mentioned last week or the week before, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts with the surah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes an oath, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes an oath, bringing and taking that oath with the intention of wanting to get the attention of the people listening, and those were none other than the Arabs. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala draws this beautiful scene of how the horses, how they are galloping, how they are running towards the enemy. And how, as they're running and tramping on the stones, and how it's creating the sparks and this noise. And this is something, as we mentioned, was beloved to the Arabs. So even up till today, we find they have a very deep, intense love for horses. And some of them spend millions and millions of dollars just on a horse that is purebred, or where the quality of the horse, according to how they judge the horses. But so this is something natural for the Arabs. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes an oath, and Allah draws to them this beautiful picture of how these horses are running towards the enemy. And as we've mentioned, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala immediately changes the subject matter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us, and Allah is telling them that they should ponder over the fact that how loyal that horses are to them. Like how they will sacrifice their life for that master, that owner. Without hesitation, they will run into the lines of the enemy, and normally they are the first one that gets struck. The horse are the first one to get struck, but even though he's the first one to get struck, but he's the one who will carry his owner into the lines of the enemy. This is how loyal they are. And then Allah afterwards reminds us about our natural qualities in insan. And what is our relationship to our master? Allah says, وَإِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لِرَبِّهِ لَكَنُودٌ. But as for my subject, those who I am their master, but they are very ungrateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah draws our attention to the loyalty of that horse, to that master of his, and then Allah says that, but my servants, I am their master, but they are very ungrateful for the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah says they indeed, they have intense love for this dunya. Intense love for this dunya. These two weaknesses Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the surah regarding us as insan. And as I mentioned, this is the reality, this is a quality that all of us have. That we are ungrateful for the ni'mas of Allah. And as we mentioned, Mufassirul mentioned, Lakanud is the one who he easily misses the bounties, but he forgets to count the blessings Allah has given him. He look past the blessings, but he look at the things that is not there, and then he ponder and reflect over that and complain over what Allah has not given him, instead of being thankful for what Allah has given him. And then this evening, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us again, as Allah has mentioned in Surah Zilzal. In Surah Zilzal, the previous chapter, Allah also reminds us of this reality. Allah says, أَفَلَا يَعْلَمُ إِذَا بُعْثِرَ مَا فِي الْقُبُورِ. Does he not then know what will happen when all that contains in the grave will be overturned? So Allah is again in the surah reminding us that when we will enter the grave, and that will be the end of our life in this dunya, but in the reality that is not the end. The reality is that one day will come the hashar where Allah will resurrect us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will empty whatever is in the grave will come out. يَوْمَ تَشَقَّقُ الْأَرْضُ عَنْهُمْ سِرَاعًا, said Allah in Surah Qaf, I think. ذَلِكَ حَشْرٌ عَلَيْنَا يَسِيرٌ. Allah says, on that day the earth will split open, it will take, the graves will split out whatever is in it. And whoever is in it. And this is something, says Allah, حَشْرٌ عَلَيْنَا يَسِيرٌ. This is something very easy upon us. Not difficult at all for Allah. Allah can create from nothing, so this is very easy for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that day Allah will again, everything in the graves and everyone in the graves will be resurrected. People will be getting up, being buried over how many years, 1,000 years, thousands of years, hundreds of years. getting up, and now they find themselves going towards the mahshar where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will resurrect us to the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that we've discussed in the previous Surah Zilzal. So here again Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us, أَفَلَا يَعْلَمُ إِذَا بُعْثِرَ مَا فِي الْقُبُورِ. Do they not ponder over this reality and over this fact? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَحُصِّلَ مَا فِي الصُّدُورِ. And like how Allah will turn upside down the grave and Allah will take out everything that is in it and everyone that is in it. And also in Surah Zilzal, Allah mentioned that treasures will come out under this ground as well. Pillars of gold and pillars of silver will come out. People will look past it and people will say, is this what I kill for in this dunya? Is this what I've broken the relationship with my family members? They will walk past of them. Allah's telling us again, وَحُصِّلَ مَا فِي الصُّدُورِ. Not only will Allah overturn and open up the graves, but Allah, وَحُصِّلَ مَا فِي الصُّدُورِ. And all that is contained in the hearts will be exposed. Allah will open up this heart of ours. Allah will open up this heart of ours, meaning Allah will expose every secret in it. Every secret that we have in our hearts, and this is not the secret to think of the thoughts ahead, but these are the sins that we commit with our hearts. And the first two sins, like we have the sins of the body, the sins of the limbs, sins of the eyes, and sins of the ears, we have the sins of the heart as well. And Allah mentions to us in this surah the two sins of the heart, and that is hub of this dunya, it's a sin of the heart. Intense love for this dunya, it is a sin of the heart. Ingratitude is a sin of the heart. Insincerity is a sin of the heart. Being jealous for the next person is a sin of the heart. And committing shirk is a sin in the heart. Nifaq, hypocrisy is a sin of the heart. So all of these things are sins of the heart. Being proud and arrogant is a sin of the heart. One of the worst sins of the heart is being proud and arrogant, becoming conceited. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us that every sin that we commit, not only on the day of Qiyamah regarding our limbs, but the sins we committed even with our hearts, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will expose it on the day of Qiyamah. And that's why it's so important in this dunya and this time Allah has given us to go through it, to acknowledge where's our weaknesses and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ رَبَّهُمْ بِهِمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ لَخَبِيرٌ. That surely Allah, that day will be fully aware of them. Allah will be fully aware. One of the names of Allah is Al-Khabir. One of the attributes of Allah is Al-Khabir. And Al-Khabir is the only one who is aware of all you do, you say, you hide, and what you want. So this is Allah's knowledge. And Allah's knowledge, if you don't want to accept Allah's knowledge on this dunya, definitely on the day of Qiyamah, Allah will show us His ability. And Allah will show us the extent of His knowledge. And how do we apply it in our life, my beloved brothers, sisters in Islam? As is mentioned there, that let this amazing fact comfort you in times of hardship. And in times of ease, remind yourself not to get too attached to this world and its material benefits. So when we go through difficulty in life, Allah is Al-Khabir. Allah is the one who knows what we go through. Turn to Allah. When we go through ease, Allah is the one who knows what we're experiencing of ease. And do not be fooled and be overpowered by the enjoyment of this dunya. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala beautifully ends of this surah, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the reality of this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those, firstly make us of those who are grateful for the ni'mas and bounties of Allah. Those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us of this dunya, but we will not allow the love of this dunya to overpower our hearts and take us away from the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us a tawfiq and understanding. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.